last week notwithstanding, the most consistent platform perhaps in the entire Aviva Premiership at the moment, and some very talented backs, but Stephen Myler really is able to pull the strings and absolutely rely on the ball he wants when he wants it, and it does make them very difficult to beat, doesn't it?
Matt Carley will be assisted by Gareth Copsey and Ross Campbell. Graham Hughes is the TMO. Sarries won the toss, and they chose to play into the wind in this first half. Northampton will get us underway, and Craig and Callum Clark chase that for all they were worth, but it's Saracens' ball that they have retained initially. And Jamie George trying to provide the platform that wasn't the firmest for young Ben Spencer to clear, left-footed. 22-year-old making just his second start this season. Wigglesworth off the bench at Twickenham last night, and his mate at scrum half is here in the stands watching Spencer start in the league today.
And that's a nice little initial drill, that, from Saracens. It's not easy to take early restarts in conditions like this. Horrible rain, slippery ball, simple pick and go, good ruck drill, and that's a lovely kick from Ben Spencer for a first touch for him. Gives his forward pack fully 30 metres to jog up to this line-out.
Heard Austin talking about line-outs to Jamie George before the match, talking about how difficult it will be to get the ball in straight and accurate with a slippy one, but that was neatly executed initially by Mike Haywood, and once again, Saints with possession. This is Dowson running the ship this weekend in the absence of Dylan Hartley. Here goes Elliott. Ken Pesey testing England at Twickenham yesterday. And Dixon, who would have watched Photo Elite on the other side of the fence, and the big burst from Burrell. Disappointed not to be involved in the big one, but he's made an immediate impression here. James Wilson aquaplaning in, but the big burst from the big man, Luther Burrell.
We talked just minutes ago, Nick, about coaching. This is a brilliantly prepared team, starting a game fantastically well. We saw the chip over the top from Myler, regathered by Callum Clark. Just here, beautiful piece of play. Callum Clark steaming onto that. How does he get there from a line out? I guess he's fresh, but he's a big unit to be getting that far that quickly. Excellent work against this Saracens blitz defence. Another example, Myler lets them come up, lets Wiles come up. They are willing, they are ready for Saracens to attack, ready for them to blitz, and they've got tactics ready to deal with it. Saracens are a couple of minutes in, and they've already been asked some serious questions. Really, really good prep from Saints.
George North had an ultimately frustrating evening with New Zealand, but we're mentioning lots of players who are in the side for folk who were enjoying test stages yesterday, and lots of those folk have already made an impression here. Early conversion for Stephen Myler to contemplate last May's man of the match in the Twickenham final. Oh, that is an absolute peach. What a sweet strike from Stephen Myler. What a sweet start from the Saints. 7-0.
Well, I tell you what, it was actually a lovely pass from Burrell, this. Good line, Myler does well. How often in the first minute of a game, in these sorts of conditions, do you see someone fluff a pass like that? Looks simple, it isn't simple. Really well taken.
Are we happy with the direction of the pass?
I think Myler's pass was marginal. I'm surprised he didn't go back and look at it. But Burrell's pass in these conditions was of international class.
Use it!
We'll have another look at those passes next time the ball goes out of play. And here we are. Oz.
Well, just looking back at the try, it's actually a dogleg created by two players accelerating at different speeds. First, Charlie Hodgson comes forward too quickly, then Wiles comes outside, and that creates the dogleg. And what Myler does is he reads it and holds onto the ball just long enough to let the defender go past him. That pass, to me, looks forward, but they let him get away. Then the pass that Burrell throws to set up the try, really nice, but good skill, and just waiting for a defence to do something in front of you by Myler before making a preordained decision.
Line out over.
Stephen Myler was one of those not so long ago that we were talking about in the shake-up for the England 10 shirt. He seems to have fallen down the pecking order over the last few months, over the course of this season at least. We saw his quality again there as Dixon goes along with the box kick, the clearance kick, up to Alex. Good. His little one-on-one with this man today will be worth keeping an eye on. Two of them at the moment playing a little game all of their own.
It's easy, Nick, in these conditions, and forwards will say, well, the forwards decide how this game is won or lost, but the back three have a massive influence on it, because when you get into a kick fest, as we probably see today, it's about the extra 10, 15, 20 yards you can give your forwards. You can give them front foot line out or front foot scrum. It makes an enormous difference, particularly not allowing the ball to bounce within your own 22. And that's where we'll see the skills of both Foden and Good come to the fore.
First line out that went awry, but it was lost forward as Saracens tried to gather it with Will Fraser.
Also, Oz, in terms of the forwards winning you the game, I don't think this is just a simple overthrow, just not a nice moment for poor Mike Hayward, but it happens. I think there's no pitch to get bogged down in. There's no mud. It may be wet and slippery, but this pitch isn't affected by the weather. This won't be a slow game. It will be a fast game. So actually, the forwards will have less of an influence on a rainy day on this pitch than they would on a grass pitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
First scrum of the afternoon. Solid one for Northampton. Hooked back by Hayward, and they draw the penalty, which Dixon doesn't hang around with. They're keen to play a quick game. It's the way they've always played against Saracens, in their faces, trying to knock them off balance. They've already profited from it once. The very early James Wilson try. Dixon to Myler. Let's take a step backwards, and then he goes high and cross, looking for Wilson again, and he got there. Beat Ashton to it, but Good gathers up the scraps, and Hodgson kicks on as well, and young Elliott goes backwards. He loses it forward. And then there was offside. And there's a penalty in front of the post for Saracens to get on the board.
Good harrying and hassle by Saracens, actually came from a great contest, or a great effort in the air at least, from James Wilson on the left wing. He did all the work, unfortunately coughed the ball up. Alex Good, as we've come to expect, realises what his options are, picks the right one, looks an ugly kick, it's actually perfectly placed. That's just, that's one of those nightmare moments. Greasy ball, firm surface. Samu Manoa, it's very difficult. He must have known he was offside, but it's so difficult not to grab that thing when it bounces at your feet.
Under pressure,
It's a great weight on the kick from Alex Good, wasn't it? He could have easily overkicked that, but he kicked it perfectly into the space to allow Hodgson to challenge for it. First player to go beyond 500 Premiership penalties last week. Notches up another one, and Saracens have steadied the ship in choppy waters early on. Got a Yorkshireman against a Lancastrian off the kicking tee today. Hodgson and Myler. Two of the deadliest strikers off a ball in the Premiership. Taken in by Good, who's had a prominent start to this match. Stevenson trying to keep him off the floor. Gill
not now, 9.
Rolls his way over. Jackson Ray creating some free space over that ball for Spencer to have all the time he needs to clear safely into touch.
It's nice from Spencer. Second box kick, used both feet, left foot first, right foot, all round. Really nice basic skills. He's got a very good pass. We saw him a few years ago, didn't we, Nick, at Watford for the first time. Very sharp with the ball off the floor. Just got to add a few more parts to his game now. Like you said, he's young enough. There's quite a few good scrum halves around, but there's no reason this guy can't go up the ladder.
Somebody who appreciates what he can do and knows exactly when the camera's on him. Have a chat about Richard Wigglesworth and how he might fit into Stuart Lancaster's plans next week. A while or so with Austin. Austin's got some very strong views on the subject. But Ben Spencer has started well. I'm entirely sure there's a subject that Austin doesn't have strong views on, but that's another matter.
Not that bothered about flowers.
There's Manoa. Dixon to Myler. And Tom Stevenson coming back inside. How well he played whenever we saw him last season. Fresh from striking in his first game of the Premiership this season. He scored a try against Exeter, skinned half a dozen defenders as well. Stevenson will be a man that a new look Saracens midfield of Wiles and Tompkins will have to have their eyes on today. Defensively, they will be tested by Burrell, as they already have, and Stevenson as well.
Well, they were picked apart after 2 minutes, so the test began pretty early. This is pretty simple stuff. Callum Clark, not really any other option, get his head down. Hargreaves is making an effort to roll away. It's a tough one. He probably should just roll backwards towards Lee Dixon's feet, but of course Lee Dixon will make every effort to dig his feet into the rubber turf and not let him pass. So Alistair Hargreaves affects a decent tackle, and there's not a huge amount he can do, but he is in the way.
I know they've given a lot of thought to discipline training this week up at St Albans. There were costly penalties against Leicester.
Off the ball. Okay.
There's another one for them. That Monday morning video review session was based a lot around the points they gave away at Welford Road, and might suggest the potential for another 3 here. Now that right boot, albeit a wet right boot, started pretty impressively.
The reason those penalties frustrate the team and coaches the most is because they're completely unnecessary. There was an effort, but you call it shotgun theory. If there's a shotgun in your mouth, could you get out of the way of that ball? So if it's possible, just find a way to get out of the way. You're a big, strong bloke. Find a way to move quicker. It must be horrible for coaches to watch that. It's quite an aggressive theory, I grant you, Nick.
It's graphic. It makes the point.
It's a military thing, I think.
Yeah.
No problem, 6 was legal on his feet.
When were you in the military?
I did an army week once with you, Austin. Well,
you can't talk about your SAS station, remember? That's
what I don't.
We signed a confidentiality agreement, didn't we?
You said you wouldn't mention it.
No, we're not allowed to. Flaps. Those days in Hereford.
We're just seeing a lot of the sides, though, getting a lot more creative as well at the restarts. Trying to isolate individual jumpers, allow some of the better guys in the air to get up. Everyone learning from the All Blacks.
And in scrummaging terms, Austin, since I'm sure you're about to ask, this battle on the near side between Salesi Ma'afu and Rhys Gill, classic tight head prop who sticks in that hole. Rhys Gill, penalised last week, I thought, incorrectly for running around the outside. He's really going to have to stick on Ma'afu. Very powerful from Saints.
And he was driving through there. There's a reason why the Australian started every Premiership game since his debut last year.
That was more about Alex Waller, that scrummaging. Very, very powerful against the Argentinian Juan Figallo on the far side. But you're right, Salesi Ma'afu operates kind of under the radar, unless he's brawling with Tom Youngs. But very, very effective guy. Actually, despite not looking massively athletic, he is actually very flexible in the set piece. Good technique, and he's very fit for purpose. This is just power from Waller. Aggression, power, body position. You see Jim Hamilton in the second row popping up. He's got nowhere else to go because his prop is getting shoved backwards at a rate of knots. And Salesi Ma'afu can just tuck in against Mike Hayward, use Alex Waller's power and momentum to just follow him through.
So we're talking about the benefit of continuity and how Ma'afu has been a constant figure. Alex Waller hasn't missed a Premiership match for 3.5 years now. And you build relationships, don't you?
Yeah, incredible.
9.
Saints midway between the 22 and the 10 metre, trying to build something here. Dixon taken on by Day. Dixon again is looking alert. Eyes shining through the gloom. Oh, that's clever as well, and Wilson's chasing this, and he might get a second. Oh, it's that easy. It's that easy. Saints have 2. Wilson has 2.
Austin, I want to know from you as a scrum half, who should be defending in that corner?
Well, you see Spencer
just gone too far.
He overruns the ball, he gets past the kick, which means Ashton has to keep going forward to mark the pass. But it is a really nice piece of skill from Dixon. Really well-weighted kick, pops up, absolutely perfect. They attacked the blind side really well in the semi-final here a few years ago, and it's definitely been a ploy today. wrap around a couple of times, get the forwards, get them outnumbered. Once Saracens decide to chase to the far side and put defenders there, shoot down the blind side with guys like Wilson.
That is a gorgeous kick, and it's a beautifully executed try. But just defensively, Austin, it seems to kind of be in vogue at the moment to get stuck into Chris Ashton. Was he hung out to dry a bit there by Ben Spencer, or is there anything he could have done differently?
I think Ashton did everything he had to, because if he drops off, then the pass is made to Wilson, then he's got a more difficult tackle. It's a tough position to defend on the right wing. Yep. People think it's easy, but it's not.
You were probably quite good at that, weren't you, Austin, playing for England?
Yeah. I don't need to say it. You obviously know.
Goodness me. If those posts had been 6 inches apart, it'd have gone straight through the middle. That was some kick. 3 of them in a row.
He's bought the right boots, hasn't he?
Let's have another look at this.
It's just a gorgeous little kick.
Onside.
Allianz Park getting behind the hosts, and they need some help at the moment, vocally. Jim Hamilton quite getting down far enough, but here goes Vunipola, dropped by England. Steaming. Billy might be steaming a little bit more than usual this afternoon. A little bit of a chance there to give it a go. This is Hamilton. He might feel likewise. He's in his 30s now. It's a long way to go up to Scotland and not get a game. Invited to get the plane back down midweek.
With knees like that, the odd plane journey takes its toll, doesn't it? When you're 7 feet tall in economy.
From a kick. Directly from a kick, surrounded.
Some tash from Will Fraser. A bit of wax on the end of it.
It's too right, yeah, it's a fabulous effort. A lot of work's gone into that. He should be very proud of that, Nick.
Been nursing a slight hamstring tear in recent times, but playing today with Jack Berger on the bench. Well, that Saints scrum looks in total control at the moment. I'll turn to somebody who knows a little bit more about it than I do.
You've left your hooker and started driving across.
It's a pack, a very good pack full of good players working really well together. Sarries are actually, for me, not doing a lot wrong. Rhys Gill is in a good position. He's absolutely taking Celestima Arfu head on, but we're focusing on him in camera terms now. He may have been penalised, but it's actually his mate, Juan Figallo, on the far side. As soon as he starts moving backwards under pressure from Alex Waller and Mike Hayward, very difficult. You see Rhys Gill's right shoulder, his inside shoulder just gives way because his hooker and tight head are being shoved backwards. At that point, there is nothing Rhys Gill can do. So if he's been penalised, he should be pretty unhappy with that. It's really Juan Figallo struggling.
Not had much game time over the last year or so. He was allowed to leave Montpellier because he had a neck issue, which actually legally meant he wasn't allowed to play in the top 14. He's fought his way back to full fitness, but fair to say that he's not match hardened yet, the Argentinian, with his 1 test caps, and he's been given early challenges here as Manoa stomps it up to the 22. Myler to Burrell, who's already had a big impact. Stevenson, who is a big lump. Young guy, but one of those prospects that Saints Academy is producing at the moment. Here goes Dowson, captaining the side today. Manoa again. 3 tries this season, puts him up with Burrell and George PC in the Saints try-scoring stakes, but Wilson has hunted them down already today with a couple of his own. Once again, Myler just knowing where the spaces are, knowing the soft bits of Saracens' defence to go for.
It's a lovely piece of skill from Simon Manoa off the floor. He gets a bit of man and ball, not really going anywhere, but he just knows. He's just in the team so often. His relationships are built so well that he just knows Dixon will be there and the move can continue, even though they were hit behind the gain line. Lovely, simple piece of skill.
Taken by the skipper, Hargreaves. That's taken on by George, who has it under his right arm. Work their way up to the 22, nearly over the 22 they are now. with Figallo. They just waited too long.
Knock on by one.
Ball was knocked on by Rhys Gill, we heard Matthew Carley say.
That was two Saracens players that fell on the floor, wasn't it?
So difficult. It's a conundrum there, Nick. You always are told, you're always coached to get the ball out while you're moving forward. Sarri's just fall apart a bit. It's Callum Clark almost on his own who's caused all that damage, getting that ball through. Maybe he's knocked it out of someone's hands. Whatever he's done, he's come through the middle and he's caused carnage. Massive work rate, this guy. But he shouldn't have been allowed to get in there, and the ball should have been delivered to 10 or kicked by Spencer while they're moving forward in the defence, therefore moving backwards. But it's difficult to get it off them when they're going forwards. They don't want to give it up.
Quarter of the match gone. 2 tries for Northampton, both of them to Wilson. And at the moment, much of what's been good about this match is
move your own players away.
Spoken with an East Midlands accent.
Guys, take your own players away.
Tell you what, Nick, that's when a scrum looks worrying, when you have a guy, Figallo, as we've said before, is under pressure. He's trying to stay extra low, and he's gone so low. We can see from this side through the tunnel, he's actually slipped underneath Alex Waller, lost his purchase shoulder to shoulder, and slipped into the tunnel on his front. And the Northampton pack, half of them have got their eyes closed, just shoving. They don't know he's on the floor, straight over the top.
Caught Matthew Carley as well, talking about the position of the feet, making sure that they're underneath the front row. Austin.
Guys, just looking at the makeup of the back line here, you've got Myler and his midfield, and they're really going to try and target these two guys. But what you have to be careful of is the run around all the way from Dixon. Very good at it. So you try and do one thing and have to defend something else.
Well, it is Burrell who ships it up. Dixon having another go down the blind side with Craig. Courtney Law's replacement today. Rare opportunity for him to start a Premiership game. Couldn't get the ball down, though, having shipped it up. Jim Hamilton and Vunipola and co made sure that when the ball next came out, it would be theirs to play with.
Hargreaves did a really good job there. And Hamilton, it's a lot easier said than done to hold somebody up, but if you're going to take the ball into some big units with such strong upper bodies, and James Craig is way too high, needs to get his body height lower, needs to be running at hips, really, if he's running into traffic like that, get his shoulders down.
Tell you who else was there, Chris Ashton. Wouldn't have expected to have been, but he was, and he certainly was part of that big process. Oz, what have you got?
Oh, just looking back at the second Wilson try, this is what you mean by rat pattern. You get the forwards coming around the corner once, you do it again, and what you're looking at is you're waiting for that blind side to only have maybe 2 defenders on it. There's a shout that comes from Myler here. He recognises it, but it's Spencer who stood behind. What he does is he overruns the play. He should run backwards in that direction of the arrow, but he comes forward, which means there's absolutely no sweeper in behind. It's an absolute perfect kick, and Wilson's read it all the way. But that is completely pre-planned. It's not off the cuff. It's spotted by the guy who's scanning behind Myler. He's looking at the posts, he's counting defenders, and he's looking for opportunity.
So it's like that initial chip we saw in minute 1 from Myler over that blitz Saracens midfield. It's just good prep, good planning.
Bind. Set. 9 behind the ball.
Dixon and Spencer having a little battle with each other, and Dixon got the better of it, and the score for Dowson.
Try scored.
Well, I don't think Lee Dixon had his hands on the ball at all during that build-up to the try, but goodness me, he was instrumental in creating chaos around the ball and creating the opportunity for his skipper to score a 3rd for Northampton.
What you get with Lee Dixon is if you give him a platform, watch Alex Waller on this near side. This is just massive effort. Juan Figallo, he's got him on toast. Billy Vunipola's got nowhere to go. And Lee Dixon, what you get is a load of hassle, a load of scrum half nosing around the base. Great stuff.
This is the angle that shows it better. Spencer allows Dixon to get in between him and his number 8. You've got to really stay tight to that scrum. That's experience for you. But Dixon really takes advantage of it. Hits Vunipola with a brilliant tackle. I think the front row will take a little bit of credit as well, though, Flats, won't they?
They will. They put Lee Dixon on the front foot, but he's still got to get through Spencer, be streetwise, be aggressive. And you're right, he did whack Vunipola then, really put him on his side, knock the ball away. Dowson's always there, isn't he?
Yeah, the little cry of exasperation from Stephen Myler. That's the first thing he's done wrong today. They've had 4 trips to the 22, Northampton, and they've scored 3 tries.
This forward pack is really, really going well. Saracens have got a top-of-the-range outfit out there, and they're being taken to the cleaners at this stage. They need to fight. They need to do something about it. They need to find a way through this.
Knock-on advantage.
Ball was lost forward. Dixon was playing with the advantage that's now gone. Picked up by Strettle. It's the first time we've mentioned David Strettle today. Just haven't been able to get their phases going yet, Saracens.
10 metres, guys. It's from here. Okay.
Confirmation of just how efficient Northampton have been when they've got within striking range.
7.
Good. Underneath it again. And he almost executed it perfectly. Instead, it's Burrell who can come away. Stevenson providing the link to Wilson, who's already looking for a hat-trick. Only played 24 minutes, and Hodgson. They need all of his know-how now, all of his experience to pull some rope and get them back into this.
We wonder why Northampton seem to have the voodoo over Saracens these last 5 or 6 meetings. Well, actually, it doesn't seem that complicated. They are brilliantly prepared, but they've got a big, really united, big, aggressive, efficient forward pack and loads of ambition. Every time they get the chance, they don't care about the rain. They're going for it, and everyone is on the same page. And you think you have to credit Alex King with that. This back line absolutely operates on that platform they're given. They don't waste a bit of it.
5 metres.
Taken at the front by Samoa Dowson, trying to link up with Haywood.
I've only ever seen 2 front peels work, I think. I've watched rugby now for 30 years of my life. Both done by Wasps against Leicester Tigers in the Heineken. And now, every time you just think, why do it? Why put yourself under that much pressure when you're really on the front foot?
Saracens come up.
Played back in the days of Rafael Ibanez.
Yeah. That's what happens when you let forwards be inventive. It doesn't work. Just push.
George
Run it over.
finds Hamilton, who's one of the bigger pushers around. Taken by Wilson. Dixon to Myler to Burrell, and it's been half charged down, and it very nearly fell for Chris Wiles, but it just wouldn't come to heel. Tompkins was there as well.
I just wonder there, as Myler gets the ball and gives it to Burrell to kick. We don't see Burrell kick a huge amount. Should Myler just have got rid of that himself?
I don't think he could. I think the line speed of Saracens, you were saying Saracens have got to get themselves back into this game, and that's what they go to. They go to their pressure when they haven't got the ball. Line speed on Myler, the pressure, he was taking the charge down risk.
Well, we're ready to speak with Alex Sanderson. Let's just watch this next phase of play, and then we'll have a word with the Saracens coach. He's got a lot on his mind at the moment, you'd imagine. Vunipola trying to do something about it. Spencer calling the shots behind the scrum, just pointing out Craig, who's trying to involve himself. And Craig's got his hands all over that ball, and Spencer rips it back.
Step back for him. Use it!
Cleared away by Spencer. Strettle's chasing it. Elliott beat him to it, but it surely went forward. Surely went forward off Elliott. And it has been confirmed by the touch judge on this near side, Gareth Copsey. So let's have a word with Alex Sanderson. I'm not quite sure where to start, really, Alex.
Yes, that's correct there.
What's concerning you most of all? Is there one big issue for you at the moment?
Well, we've lost the territorial battle and the set-piece battle, and the 2 things we worked on all week, given the conditions, and obviously Northampton, who run concurrent set-piece, who look to pressurise you through mauls and through scrums. So we've got to sort the scrum out initially, because they're gaining 50 metres, and on the back of that, tries at the moment.
What kind of messages can you actually get onto the pitch that make a difference in game time?
Well, mainly the technical ones, really, for the front row. If we're too high, we're too loose in the back 5, and we're trying to get those on in the stoppages and the breaks in play. But Northampton are a side that if you don't get it right, if one person isn't scrummaging well on the day, you know, they'll win penalties against you. So it's something we need to sort out.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
It'll be very interesting to see what messages they do get on, and if Figallo, with all his experience, can alter what he's doing, because it does need to change and quick, or I think he might find himself getting shepherd's crook at half-time.
Chris Wiles taking the ball up to the 22, but then when he did, he hung on to it. He's such a valuable asset to the club, a few more versatile in the Premiership, but he's feeling the frustration like them all at the moment.
Yeah, you just sense that they just need a little bit more control, Saracens, and their own play. And one person in particular that needs that is Spencer. You've got De Kock on the bench, who could potentially come on earlier than expected, but Lee Dixon, his opposite number, is putting pressure on him all the time. There he is on the side of the ruck. He's not involved in the play at all, but watch what he does. It's just the little things. He sees his opposite number, Spencer, there. Comes in, just hits him on the back of the head a couple of times before the ball pops out. That makes him drop it along the floor, and suddenly your whole pack are running forward 5 yards. It's the little skills that scrum halves pick up over the years that make a difference.
Forward.
Nauseating, basically.
He's gone there and tipped it forward. Just gone forward.
It's not designed to encourage, is it?
No, it's not, but Spencer is a really good 9, really good player, great basic skills, great passing. What he needs to do is he needs to, at this scrum now, just boot the other guy in the back of the heel and let him know that he's there for a fight. But obviously not, but legally not get seen by the ref or the touch judge.
Or give him a thoroughly good talking to without swearing. I think that's probably what he needs to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
Hang on. Hang on.
So we saw there, we saw
Just
Juan
wait,
Figallo.
just wait.
Listen.
You put yourself in a very dangerous position. I said before the game, if you're not happy, we stand up at the start, okay? Just make sure you're waiting for the set, okay? You're very close on the edge, okay? Come on.
It's just that last second pull out, that stand up from Juan Figallo. It's dangerous for one, it's too late, but also it shows that he is just not comfortable.
Bind! Set!
Half an hour gone. It's been all Northampton. And they get another penalty.
Yeah, there's a reason he's not comfortable. Very difficult. He is a top-class operator. He's not fully match fit. I actually think, although he is a tight head prop with a lot of caps for Argentina, 26 caps, I actually like seeing him on the loose head. I don't think with Richard Barrington there's any need for him to play on the loose head, but it's really not going very well. Hayward learnt a lot from Dylan Hartley, and along with Alex Waller is just really target. He's getting a full 2-on-1. He's got absolutely 2 guys to deal with in every scrum, and he's not coping.
You're wondering where Kieran Longbottom is, by the way. He's got a foot injury at the moment. That's why he's out. James Johnston is the option on the bench.
I was just thinking you'll see him at half-time, surely. I mean,
got to. Do you know what? I don't think Figallo's doing a huge amount wrong. I think they're just stronger than he is today. Personally, it's really harsh, and props hate it. I would not wait until half-time.
Well, I know we are playing on an artificial pitch this afternoon, but can't underestimate just how well Stephen Myler in the conditions is striking the ball. He's only missed one, and he's continuing to nudge Northampton further ahead.
You'd never know the conditions are horrible, would you? It doesn't look. It looks absolutely in control. Looks easy for Myler so far.
Use it!
Dixon. It's gone long. Not really designed to give the chasers a chance, but try and play some territory, and Alex Good grateful that the ball didn't bounce too far in front of him. Hodgson skating across to try and gather a ball, and intention was, if possible, to take the quick line out, but he never got it under control.
What a fantastic kick from James Dawson. He had all the time in the world, but it's still very difficult to execute. Again, Sarri's mixing up the kickoffs a bit. Wilson really does get up. It's one of the first ones he's actually taken nicely. He's got up and fumbled a few, but he's a big bloke, and he really gets above Ashton. He has done a few times so far, but that's a good clean take. Andy Good.
I think Ashton's there rarely enough, Flats, to get up and compete for that. For my money, he's taken himself out of that competition. Whether that's because he thinks he might give away a penalty, I don't know. But get up there, try and win the ball back. You need to make something happen now, Sarries.
Ray won possession for them. Spencer took it into contact. Left-footed Spencer over the jumping Dixon.
With that aerial contest, Oz, do you think Ashton's saying, well, Wilson's been getting up brilliantly, but he has dropped 3 or 4 already, let's let him drop another one, and he just happens to catch it? Or do you think all this chat that's gone on so far this season, certainly in the Aviva Premiership, around the contest and all the soft penalties that have been given, do you think he's actually thinking, well, why take the risk?
I think that only Ashton can answer that question himself. Looking at it, I think he pulled out in the air. He could have competed for it.
So a little glimpse of James Johnston warming up. Not sure how significant that is. All of Saracens' 8 replacements are warming up behind the post at the moment, but he's certainly available for selection in the second half if and when needed.
Use it!
Dixon with Elliott running around him, and he's not used. It's Myler who will kick crossfield and look once again for Wilson, who's on for a first half hat-trick here, and he rose highest and beat Good to the goal.
Small knock on there. You change your bind, come up the side.
Change of bind, leading to another Northampton penalty via the front row.
But it's another really good crossfield kick. And like you said, Wilson's been just immense in the air. Look at the height he gets. He gets that knee up to protect him, but also to leverage a little bit of extra hang time. Eyes always on the ball. Good in a great position. This now is becoming so important for back threes.
Spoiling you this afternoon. Not just one match, but 2. Once we're done here, we're heading to Oxfordshire, the Kassam Stadium, for London Welsh against Leicester, BT Sport 2. 3 o'clock we're underway there. And then tomorrow, rugby tonight, 8 o'clock, BT Sport 2. Matt Vesic is our studio guest, and we're having an extended chat as well with Stefan Armitage, who talks about pretty much everything you'd expect him to be talking about. Potential moves back to the Premiership, England, France, what he's buying his brothers for Christmas. All included on Rugby Tonight tomorrow.
I was at a dinner last night with Matt Vesic, and I spent most of the night asking him about Stefan Armitage. They should try that in Rugby Tonight. Stefan is Matt's favourite subject.
Stephen Myler kicks the green, kicking Tierway rather disconsolately there, but he's got nothing to harangue himself over too much so far. It's just the second he's missed. It's a 22-point lead going into the final 5 minutes of a gruesome first half for Saracens. Manoa trundles it towards the 10-metre. Dixon. This is Hayward. Always his busiest time of season when Dylan Hartley's away. He likewise employed during the Six Nations, you'd imagine. Dixon to Manoa. There's Craig once again, who's been busy. It's his second row partner, Christian Day. Premiership game number 99 for him today. Number 100 against London Welsh next week. Waller blasts it on.
He's not part of the tackle. Well, let's set you up first.
He just got a little
6
scratch in the face there as he oh, a little bit more than a scratch in the face. He got a gobful.
Well, he got clocked, and then he wore one from the back from Mike Hayward, all legal, but he got a bit of whiplash just to add to it.
Jackson Ray, 8 from 8. Line-out wise, it's been one of the positives.
Disrupted the quality of his possession.
Certainly won't be an area at half-time that they'll have to spend too much time on. There are enough of those elsewhere.
They've won the line-outs nicely, but they've been miles away from the Northampton 22 in general, so bit inconsequential.
It's really difficult when you're shuffling across.
Let's not forget, though, Saracens are going into really quite a strong breeze in this half, as you saw with Charlie Hodgson's penalty there. Went for the corner, but it really held up in the air. I think they'll turn around with a lot more territory and ball to play with in the second half.
Yes, if you weren't with us for kick-off, they chose to play into this first half wind. Whether it's a 22-point breeze remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Line out taken by Hargreaves.
Thank you.
2 minutes to go. Saracens looking to at least have a word before they cut up the oranges at the break. Penalty against Craig. Now there's an easy 3 points here, and the experience of Charlie Hodgson might incline him to take them, but it doesn't look as if they're going to go that way. They're going for the try.
Number 8, blood. Stop. 8. You're going to have to go off, you're bleeding. Time's off.
Billy's
because you're bleeding.
got to go and get himself patched
8.
up.
Replacement blood.
Nobody's made more carries than him in the Premiership this season. We get a welter of statistics from Opta during the week, all of them interesting, some more significant than others, but when you look at the offloads of the likes of Nick Easter,
Are they on the
and
line,
the carries of Billy Vunipola, there are familiar names always at the top of those lists. They do tell a story.
Yeah, he averages 15 per game, I think. Interesting stat for me is that Sarries make hardly any offloads compared to all the other sides in the league. Northampton making the most. So
yes, mate, they are.
stats are there to be broken, aren't they?
This is when we got nothing else to talk about. So on that.
It's my stock in trade. I love a stat.
6.
Right. 5-metre attacking line out. Time ticking away. It's not been their half, but this would at least put a little brightness on it towards the end. Certainly not been for Gallo's half, but he's got the ball now. Craig doing his best, and he's been hauled down.
Close to a yellow card for James, second in a row.
I think it's going to be. He wants to have a word with Phil Dowson. He'll certainly want to have a word with James Craig. Let's have a listen to this.
I don't need you for this bit. 2 offences at the maul against this player in this area of the field. Another one, you know what the sanction is.
Oh, I think he's lucky there, really lucky.
I do, because he looked up and he saw the referee give an advantage. He saw what he'd done was illegal and he didn't pull out. In fact, he intensified. He tried harder to get the guy on the floor. Maybe he thought, I've given the penalty away, why stop now? See, he looks up, he sees the advantage is gone, he sees there. He backs off and goes back in again for a second bite, even though he knows it's illegal. So I think he's lucky to still be on.
So what's the call here? It's to Vunipola, and then they gather around him and try and drive over from 5 metres. It was initially a fairly solid Saints defensive wedge, but Saracens are making ground now, and they're peeling around, and they've got the line in sight, and they've got the ball down. And a first half that's been a grisly old thing is given a little bit of gloss by Jackson Ray's score.
Very, very good try, very appropriate try in the conditions. Brilliantly put together, the second maul in a row, very, very well put together. It looks a lot easier than it is that. Very, very difficult to achieve. You've got a ball to take care of, angles to take care of. All Northampton to do is whack you and whack you backwards. Takes a huge amount of effort. Everyone's got to keep themselves in the right body position. You need to be low enough that you can move forward and not stood up and driven back, but not so low that you fall over, which we see happen so often. So actually a difficult try and very, very nicely worked and timely for the Sarries.
Jackson Ray in for Kelly Brown at 6 today. Brown, who started 6 of the opening 7 Premiership games. Ray was 8 at Welford Road. Oh boy, they needed that. Do with this as well. They're not going to get it. They'll have to content themselves with a little 5-point bonus ball heading into a half-time break that probably can't be long enough for Saracens. They've got a lot to talk about. Largely Northampton. Wilson, and Dowson, and then that score from Jackson Ray right at the end. Half-time. Saracens 8, Northampton 25.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, who would have thought 3 tries against Saracens in the first half, a try bonus point in the offing in the second half, although Sarries starting their fight back. These two boys can't wait to get stuck in to the analysis of that first half, and we're going to do that in just a minute.
It's all about the launch, dude. Seriously, man. The anticipation, the fear of the unknown. It's like being a human cannonball, dude. I'm spinning through the air, man. I'm flying. And the fun doesn't stop there, man. It's maul time. Driving for the line, wedged under some guy's pit. I'm riding that wave all the way to the shore, my friend.
The Aviva Premiership rugby season continues next weekend, only on BT Sport.
The new C-Class from £329 per month.
I see you and you see me. You show me who I could be. Watching you so quietly, I know who I want.
Now printing is so affordable and convenient, you can print all you want. HP Instant Ink. Save up to 70% on ink and don't run out again. Plans start at just £1.99 per month. Welcome to the future of printing.
Well, we did it.
2 days solid.
Yep.
Breaking Bad, done.
Smashed. Woo! Well, I'm gonna hit the hay. Allow me. Same time next week.
Bye.
Addictive TV with Netflix, movies and BT Sport plus BT Infinity fibre optic, all for an unbelievable price.
House of Cards?
Yeah.
House of Cards.
Sport. We all talk about it, but I get to live it. I get the VIPs from A to B. Is this the closest you get to sport? No, that's Betway. Live streaming, live odds, bet in play. Because whatever you think you know, right now, anything could happen.
With a free bet worth up to £50. Live sport, bet your way at betway.com.
At Curry's PC World, we'll help you get it right this Christmas. Don't bicker over what to watch. These 3D smart LGs come with catch-up TV. The 47-inch is $599. Go even bigger with the 55-inch for just $799. Or treat everyone to this stunning LG 55-inch curved OLED for $1999. Watch the festive football in brilliant colour. And for refreshments, try our NutriBullet range, just £85. The green and blue ones are only available from us. At Curry's PC World, we start with you.
Lacoste Live, fragrance for men.
House prices. Other people's wages.
Coffee.
These days, I feel like everything's getting bigger, except my savings.
But you can do something different with Wellesley.
Start today and get 4%.
Save for longer and get even more. So visit Wellesley now and find out how to treat your money just like their own.
Carefully.
Make your savings more interesting at wellesley.co.uk.
This morning, I was just a drop. A single drop that soon became a river. In this river, hope was born. A tidal wave of change. And if anyone stands against that tide, we will become a revolution. Assassin's Creed Unity. Out now at Tesco. Get the ultimate Assassin's Creed bundle with Xbox One.
Whatever you're driving, when you sell it, you want a great price. We want anycar.com. Enter your reg number and details for your valuation.
All I'm saying is Jason Robinson was the best winger ever.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, he was.
Well, that should be a very happy dressing room indeed. They currently lead Saracens 25 points to 8, 3 tries, the first coming in the first minute of the match at Allianz Park. And really, I have to say, the Saints have been dominating that game for the bulk of it. Sarri's coming back with a try on 40 minutes, but they have a huge job in hand, as do all the Premiership clubs involved in the Champions Cup. It returns next month as we are Europe-bound here on BT Sport. It all starts on Friday night. Montpellier against Bath. Last chance, really, for these two teams in Pool 4. What a cracker for you there. Ulster almost out, yet to win a game. They face Scarlets. You can see that on Saturday, 7:30. BT Sport 2. Ulster winning that would really help out the Tigers. They welcome Toulon. It would help out their cause as they battle to get out of that group. On the red button, you can watch Toulouse against Glasgow. Glasgow topping their pool. Who saw that coming? That is on the red button. It's a pretty tasty game too. Great matches coming your way, and a very interesting second half coming your way at Allianz Park, where the rain fell and the tries rained in for the Northampton Saints. Unbelievable stuff. 25 points to 8. Come on now. You did not see this happening.
Certainly not. I think the way Northampton have gone about their business, tactically they've been far superior to Saracens, led by the forward dominance, and Stephen Myler and Lee Dixon have been outstanding, steering the ship around.
We're going to look at the tries, but before that, it's not just the tries, it's the utter dominance in every facet of the game for the Saints.
It's been a nearly perfect performance, other than the try they just conceded at the end of the half. But what's impressed us has been the pace, the intensity, the accuracy in atrocious conditions, and just the way that they've tested the blitz. They've done all of those things, but playing smartly as well. Pick and going around the fringe. You hear the first try. This is so early on in the game. Stephen Myler just letting Saracens' defence know. I mean, that would have come from Alex King, I'm sure. It's something we used to do against Leicester when this man played, and just testing the blitz early. And then, it's just smart coaching, isn't it, Goody?
Yeah, it is. I think, you want to take the line speed out of Saracens' defence early on. They've obviously pinpointed that in the week. They've scored previously off kicks against Saracens. You just see here, this is the difference between, just pause it there. Brad Barrett is the fulcrum normally of Saracens' defence at 12. Chris Wiles doing a job at 12, but he's flowing out the line, makes Myler's vision there easy to see. Burrell, perfect line around the back. And then this, in wet conditions, a 20-metre pass there out to Wilson. Not breaking stride, he's world class.
But little things, I mean, the little chip over the top, trying to entice the blitz defence onto you, then Burrell picks a really smart, short line. The forwards are picking and going around the fringes again, which gets the blitz defence on the back foot. So pace, intensity, but also, keeping good decision-making as well.
I want to show the second try, because kids at home, you want to practice this in the back garden with your rugby ball. This is an incredible bit of skill from Lee Dixon.
Yeah, it is. I think you see here, he's highlighted, you see the space. What he does here, and it brings Ben Spencer to the line, he's going across the field, he's not even looking at that space, but he's using his eyes in a different way, line, looking like he's going to pass, and then he just slides it off the outside of the right boot, against the grain. Wilson knows that's what he's going to do. Telepathically together, they're playing brilliantly.
But again, I mean, sometimes, I know on commentary we were looking at defences, but you just got to hold your hand up and say that was a great piece of skill from Dixon and a great try. Again, they scored in the Premiership final at the end of last season with a little attack down the blind side. So clearly, Northampton have said, perhaps sometimes Saracens overchase. There could be opportunities, and Dixon took it there.
Yeah, it's taken 40 minutes for Saracens to fight back. Currently 25 points to 8. They have got a job on their hands. How will they fare? You'll find out in just a minute.
On a clear day, you can see the pitch from here.
You little ripper. In 1888, William and Ralph Foster gave Australia its first taste of true refreshment. Foster's. Good call since 1888.
C-Class from £329 per month.
When my van's off the road, I'm not working. So what am I gonna do?
His van's off the road, he's not working.
So it's time he got something new.
Vanarama, 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 they're the ones to call.
With amazing deals like this new Ford Transit from just £179 per month.
They're the ones you need to call.
If you've got poor credit, you could be accepted for the Luma card. So, with a response in 60 seconds, go to luma.co.uk today.
Let's price up this dining room. This dining set is £899, this sideboard £319, this dresser £548, and this mirror is £149. What does that all come to?
£49.
£49?
Yep, no deposit, 3 years interest-free credit, just £49 a month.
Tony Long tweeted, just lumped on a first goal scorer for the Champions League. Well, we hear you, Tony. And, what's this? Is that your first goal scorer? Still out at 3 a.m. with his teammate's mum? This is why you need one of Paddy Power's super generous money-back specials. Like this one for the Champions League group stages. It's money back as a free bet on any match involving an English club if it ends in a draw. That's money back if it's a draw. Download our app or pop into a shop and bet now. We hear you.
That's it, get rid of the invisible car. Dave thinks it's easier if we simply communicate that we don't have any hidden fees.
Visit quickquid.co.uk for more information.
Every job, no matter how big or small, you need a whole range of tools, accessories and building supplies. That's why I use Toolstation. They've over 11,000 products in their catalogue, and you can buy online, on the phone or pick up at your local branch. And there's free delivery on orders over a tenner and low prices for everyone. Plus, it's great for keeping the job on track. Tea break over.
Toolstation. A lot more than tools.
Every Goodyear tyre is made with a purpose. Made to protect. To carry you home. To enjoy. Goodyear, made to feel good. The Goodyear Efficient Grip Performance with A-rated wet grip. Available now at QuickFit. Goodyear, made to feel good.
The latest films are available to own through your BT TV box. All these films are available this month. Download them onto your PC, tablet or mobile and take them wherever you go. Blockbuster films available this month to buy from BT TV.
Hold up, John! Come on, love! I'm gonna miss the kick-off at this rate.
A troubled first half for Saracens. They're losing 25 points to 8. And as we look at that huddle, we're trying to make out whether the Sarries prop Juan Figallo is ready to take to the pitch again, because the scrum has been a horror show for the home team, Lawrence.
Yeah, they've been utterly blown away. And actually, Figallo's in real trouble. I think Johnston will possibly come on. I'm surprised we haven't seen him earlier on. This is Saracens' ball. Spencer feeds it, and yet they still get pushed off their own ball, which results in the Dowson try. And how often have we seen, Saracens really taken to the cleaners at scrum time? Alex Sanderson mentioned it earlier on. Won't be long before that man is on the field and trying to turn things around.
No set piece, no hope. Simple as that, Andy.
Yeah, especially in the conditions. I think it's been pure dominance from Northampton, and I can't really see it changing much.
Well, Saracens have never conceded more than 28 points at Allianz Park, but you feel that might change this afternoon in the rain, Nick Mullins.
Certainly on the cards. Worth pointing out that Saracens will be playing with this stiff breeze in the second half. Whether it's stiff enough to bring them back into this match remains to be seen. We think that Juan Figallo is being replaced now by James Johnston, and just coming out last at the back of that posse is James Johnston. So Lawrence talked about it, David talked about it after about 25 minutes, and Saracens have given Figallo 40 minutes and no more. James Johnston's on to try and anchor things.
Yeah, it had to happen. It was interesting watching the changing room camera at half-time. As soon as it was announced, Figallo's head between his knees. Not nice for him. We've all been there. But everyone suddenly gathers around Big JJ and starts trying to psych him up. No facial expression, no emotional reaction at all. He's been here before. He knows exactly what he's got to do, so it's going to be interesting to watch.
Just looking at how Sarries are setting up. They've kicked everything to Wilson. Yeah, they're going to have to switch. They have done.
Hodgson with the late switch. Picks out Foden instead. Ran 132 metres with the ball last weekend. That took him beyond 500 for the season.
7 hands past the ball and then sweeping back on. Slowed it down. You put your hands on the floor past the ball. Yeah, he's put his hands past the ball and he's been swept onto it. Slowed it down.
Northampton's wingers between them, by the way, had
line, please,
8
Saracens.
touches in that first half. James Wilson scored 2 tries from his. Ashton and Strettle's combined number of touches, 1. In every significant department, in metres made, in tackles that you have to make, in gain lines broken, all of those important statistics coloured in sublime lime in the first 40.
That's why Ashton looked so cold at half-time and stacking the thermals on, I expect.
There goes Strettle. They've now touched the ball twice. Strettle, by the way, got a poke in the eye in that first half. We saw him get a bit of a clobbering. That's what we're hearing happen. There was nothing malicious in it. It was just one of those things, but one eye is slightly redder than the other at the moment. Here's good from the tightest of angles. Strettle's actually fantastic record here, try scoring wise. Well,
that's yours. Come up.
No prizes for guessing which eye he was poked in. That looks horrible. He scored 19 tries in 21 games here. He's used to getting lots of ball time. He's getting absolutely none today.
When the opportunity comes, he is exceptional, perhaps the best in the Aviva Premiership at taking it, but you've got to earn those opportunities and create them, and Sarries haven't managed that yet. There's a long way to go.
Line-out ball taken in by the captain, Phil Dowson, scorer of one of Saints' 3 tries in that coruscate in the first half an hour for them.
Ball carrier detached. Ball carrier detached.
Explanation from Matthew Carley, who actually looked after this fixture back in April. It's Christian Day who gets back to his feet rather disconsolately.
It's just an interesting one. It's turned into a maul, so it's not a tackle situation. Watch Billy Vunipola prominent there with the head tape. He and Hamilton working very hard, but Billy effectively is in the way. If that's a tackle situation, that's a penalty. That's pretty difficult to stomach for the Saints. They got all the forward momentum, moving forward at a decent rate, and there's a guy lying in the way of the ball, and they lose possession. So you wonder if that's one of those laws that might need looking at some point. As it stands, correct decision.
Balance.
Looking for James Johnston's first input. He's got a very simple job. Whack in, get your anchors in, and don't go backwards.
Fit to rumble again after a bit of a calf problem in recent times.
Coach!
Johnston eyeing up Alex Waller.
Reset again. Same as first half. Feet too far back from the tight head, loose head to let them down.
Talking prop options, I know that Saracens were giving serious thought to giving Mako Vunipola his first run out of the season this weekend. Certainly that was the plan earlier in the week, but decided that he needs just a little bit more time to recover from the dislocated kneecap that he suffered against Toulon in the Heineken Cup final. But Mako Vunipola certainly not far away from making his comeback first time this season.
And he's an important asset. There's no need to rush him back. They've got 2 quality loose heads operating fully fit. Massive scrum from James Johnston. Alex Wander under a lot of pressure there. What an impact.
Number 3. 3 across.
It's your big bucks, Nick, that's why.
Across.
Penalty going against Selesimar Afu, but an immediate impact from James Johnston at the front row of the scrum. Martin, what have you been picking up at half-time?
Well, unsurprisingly, the message from Alex Sanderson was they've identified Alex Waller as the key man to try and negate up front. They realise a lot of weight is coming through him. He doesn't buckle, he doesn't adjust his body shape much, so he's able to transfer all that weight through, and obviously that's an area they want to rectify. As for the Saints, well, it's keep the patterns going. Don't be put off by the fact that that try was scored towards the end of the first half. Keep the patterns going. If they do that, they feel confident they can hold out.
Thanks, Martin. News from the 2 dressing rooms at half-time. That's what they were talking about. Business of the body shape of Alex Waller and the way that you work almost as a conduit for the power that comes through from the second row and a bit from the back row as well.
Well, of course you've got to put a lot of power through yourself, and generally the strongest guys in a team in terms of lifting weights and that sort of are the props, because they're very short, squat, muscular guys, and some of them are a bit chubby. But you've got all that power behind you. If your back bends, you're effectively absorbing the power that could be put into the prop opposite you. So keep everything steady, so your second row's got nothing to think about except pushing. So his base, what he's pushing against, never moves. You give him a big backside to push on. You never move that, so you almost want to stick your backside up in the air, give his shoulder a good bit of purchase, let him bind comfortably, and try and put as much power through a straight back as you possibly can. So ultimately, it's not all about the props at all.
Yeah, I said it works both ways.
So if James Johnson, as the chap who's come on, can get Waller to twist there as he did, he's neutralising the power.
He is, he's twisting him up, so he takes Waller's power away. He also takes the power of the second row away. But if he's able to maintain a good shape himself, he can use Jim Hamilton's power, which was all but redundant in the first half because Figallo was bending at the hips and struggling.
There's no question that James Johnson has made an immediate impact on the efficiency of Saracens' scrum.
He has, but Alex Waller hasn't gained a reputation as one of the top loose heads in the country for no reason. He doesn't give in easy, puts a lot of pressure into James Johnston. You can see a little grin on his face. He's absolutely loving this battle. It's what he signed up for. And that could have gone either way in terms of a decision. I think they're right to reset it. But he's up for the fight.
Isn't Johnson putting all of his weight onto the bind, trying to twist his outside shoulder down?
He will certainly do a bit of that. The farmer's arm, we call it, to pull that right arm down a bit as long as it's legal. He will try and hang his weight off the back of Waller's neck.
Battle on the other side, meantime, is Gill against Mark Afu. This is the one we're concentrating on. It's another free kick, and Spencer takes it quickly to Vunipola, who runs into Myler, runs beyond Myler, and needed the tackle of Clark to derail him. This is Gill. It's a bit of a head of a steam. There's a penalty. Phil Dowson picked up by the touch judge on the far side. Apology from Dowson.
7, tackle off the
and
ball.
what didn't we see in the first half? We did not see this angry, wounded drop by England, Billy Vunipola. We didn't see it. Suddenly, they're on the front foot. They've got parity at worst at the set piece, and we see a different Billy Vunipola. That's no coincidence. James Johnston's inclusion so far, just the last 7 or 8 minutes, has absolutely changed this game for Saracens.
Number of metres made by Billy Vunipola in the first half, 3. What did we say about statistics being the crutch of the dull man in the first half? I was showering you with them in this first few minutes of the second half. More statistics for you to digest.
Yeah.
It's a stat fest on BT Sport, just as we like it. Saracens have been that much more competitive, and it's beginning to show itself on the scoreboard. 3 points for Hodgson. Gap is still a sizable one, but not quite as sizable as it was at the break.
It's just interesting to watch how Saracens attack this last half an hour. They're a team who are They have less possession, believe it or not, in the average game than any other team in the Premiership. They're happy to give the ball to the opposition and force mistakes with their defence and their pressure. Without Brad Barrett, they don't seem able to exert that much pressure and force those mistakes. They give Northampton the ball. Northampton have been scoring. So we might see Saracens, against form, against almost recent tradition, try and keep the ball for longer and longer, kick less ball away, because Northampton have just been so dangerous.
Both sides have a responsibility to play over the mark. I'm coming this side.
Jackson Ray, the man whose try gave Saracens a little bit of momentum going into half-time.
All right, big guy.
Another chance to get a heads down and go into the middle of this scrum.
Crouch! Fine! Set!
Once again driving through, but the penalty this time goes against Reece Gill.
One across at the angle and to the ground.
Love to see that again.
Across at the angle and to the ground.
Love to see that again. So much pressure on this near side from James Johnston. That was pure power. Born with it, worked on it for years in the gym and gave Alex Waller pretty uncomfortable 5 seconds. Reece Gill on the far side is the one penalised against Celesi Maafu.
On the line.
Well, this is the view that the touch judge on that far side had.
Absolutely not having it. If you watch it again, Celesi Maafu under loads of pressure, folds his right shoulder in. Reece Gill's running forwards. How's he penalised? It just defies logic. A horrible decision, horrible.
We heard Matt Carley say just because you're going forward doesn't mean that you can't concede the penalty, but it's not one that you're buying.
Watch Celesi Maafu's right shoulder, whips it down. There's nowhere for Reece Gill to go but down. It's physics.
Ben Ransom's about to come on, as is Ernst Joubert. David Streppel, we're hearing, is the one who's to be replaced. Perhaps the eyes causing him more bother than we thought. Taken in by Manoa. Good initial line-out defence from Hargreaves and the Saracens. But the push back on from Northampton, and Dixon's wrestling for it. And Dowson was there, but it's going to be Saracens' possession. Jim Hamilton getting the big raps, the big pats on the back.
This is why Northampton are here. Watch Reece Gill, watch Celesi Maafu on this side. The takedown, loads of pressure comes on from Saracens. There, bang, slips his bind, whips it under. Reece Gill is still bound now. He's on the floor, he's still bound. The bind is slipped by Celesi Maafu and whipped under. Absolutely the wrong decision. Very difficult for referees, I grant you. But if you're not sure, keep it simple. The team marching forward, as long as they're not popping up, are rarely the team causing the offence. So really, Northampton shouldn't be in this position, in my opinion.
Confirmation of those changes. Ray and Streppel giving way for Joubert and Ransom. Saracens have made 3 changes. Saints yet to make 1. Once again. Celesi Maafu not enjoying the scrums quite as much as he did in the first half.
He's not. Celesi Maafu is a fantastic prop, but he's struggling because James Johnston has come on and is causing problems on the other side. So once one of the props goes backwards, the other one follows. I don't think there's a huge amount Celesi Maafu can do about it. But I think there's a bit of justice has been served. They watch Callum Clark on this side, on the open side, even though he's wearing 6 for Saints. Alex Waller needs all the help he can get, and he stands up. Call that meerkatting. Look at Will Fraser, absolutely committed to that scrum. He's now scrummaging on Alex Waller. So Callum Clark's difficult. He needs to be aware, he needs to follow that ball, but he's got to give his mate a hand against the big unit.
Well, I don't know whether Sarries think that the referee's got Reece Gill on his mind, but Richard Barrington, the replacement loosehead's readying himself to come on. Saracens beginning to decount the bench to try and change the course of this match. Elliott deep in defence, and it needed to be cleared away, and it was cleared away well by the fullback Foden, who had very little time to do what he needed to do.
Yeah, great chase from Ransom. Really long kick from Charlie. But look at the chase on the outside from Ransom. He waits for the ball to bounce, then he really puts the power down. He knows now if he can get a pressure on the kick, it means he's going to have to hit it high, so you can't get any distance. Makes a big, big difference, that, in your back 3.
There's the change in the front row. Ben Foden's kick, or he might have been looking closer towards the 10-metre line, actually landed just beyond the 22. Reece Gill gives way. A loose line out. Cleared away by Dixon.
Straight out.
And it's gone straight out. And it was, again, good work from Ransom, who was aware of his positioning and made sure that he straddled the touchline.
He did do very well. He's rescued Saracens there. It was good hustle from Northampton at the line out. Some scrappy ball from Saracens. That's nicely judged. Looks easier than it is, that, I'm sure. It's good hustle, hits loose ball. Look at that, Alex Waller. He might have had a tough couple of scrums. He's probably knackered by now. He's flying through on that, beating Spencer and Vunipola to the ball. All-round player, great work rate.
Hamilton looking at Hargreaves for good reason, because Hamilton was going to be one of the lifters, but it wasn't affected properly, and Manoa can come away with it. But a transfer talk starting to swirl around him. Mentions that he might be on his way to France. It's the time of year where the gossip merchants start to whisper behind the palms.
It's good fun, isn't it?
He's not on the ball.
Spencer, that's gone very high, and Foden comes onto it confidently. And seemed to take his eye off it at the last minute. Gathered in by Manoa. And then driven on by Manoa.
Gone forward off Green.
That did go forward off Elliott.
That sort of double carry, that back to his feet and carry from Manoa there seemed to shock or sort of surprise the Saracens players there. I wonder if there was a knock-on in there, or they felt there was. It was almost accidentally a beautiful pass from Mike Hayward. Just a bit loose, pretty frustrating for Dixon.
Absolutely sure that you've planned your entire afternoon to be spent in our company. And
let's make it as good as we can.
Teams for London Welsh against Leicester that kick off at 3 being confirmed on the bottom of the screen.
Number 1, give him a space to come into. Listen, just listen. Just make sure you give him enough space to come into. If you come down head on head,
8
I might be looking at you.
For Welsh. He'll busy himself.
Get in the space.
21 stones of him.
Crouch!
That match to follow this one. Still a little bit of life left in this one, a bit of fizz. Saracens as they start to shake up the bottle. 2 new props, Barrington and Johnston, either side of Jamie George.
You get it right before the ball comes in.
Jamie George facing the demands at the moment of starting each week, what with Scott Britt's knee injury. Britt's perhaps out for the rest of the season, we'll see, but it's a different approach to the match when you're starting every week as opposed to coming off the bench, and it's something that Jamie George is wrestling with and enjoying at the moment.
He's doing it extremely well. His tackle count is enormous, and that says a lot about his fitness, his work rate. His throwing's excellent, that first half especially. He's developed nicely as kind of your academy sort of YTS guy behind the likes of John Smith and Skulk Brits, but now he's been given his chance. He's absolutely a frontline player, and you see him getting an England cap in the next season or 2. Perhaps after that World Cup, you'll see him out there in the Red Rose. Really, really talented guy, mega durable.
You just come down. If you're head on head, and I think that he's close to space, then I'll be looking at him. Okay?
That's the penalty against Johnston.
You've got to get your head above your hips.
Yes.
You've got to get your
That'll
head
make
above your
James
hips.
Johnston feel a little bit better. Some consolation from Waller.
Oh, he's just making sure he's okay. Sociable tap.
Won by Craig, taken on by Manoa. Tackled by Fraser, who was back on his feet quickly to involve himself in this latest defensive effort.
Advantage 17, no arms in the tackle.
Again, taking it on. Penalties going against Barrington for the illegal tackle.
17, no arms.
And look at Dixon, no question. Go for the post, go for the points. Let's try and calm this down.
Tough, this chop tackle, that's something that's been brought in the last couple of seasons. It's not only is it potentially dangerous, it's actually quite difficult to execute. Watch Barrington here, 17, with a strap knee, dives right. He actually dives too early, so he's facing backwards. He tries for the chop, but Dowson moves probably closer to the ruck than he expected. Looks awkward, looks ungainly, And really, you wouldn't call that dangerous, probably more dangerous for Barrington than it is for Dowson, but you have to use your arms.
Is that a penalty?
Do you know what? I think by the book, these chop tackles, I think they're more dangerous than high tackles a lot of the time, especially talking about knees and ankles. But I think he has gone for a tackle with no arms, and that is against the laws. But actually, that had almost no effect. That was a speed bump job, wasn't it? So it was more of a matador, that. So I think I'd be inclined to let that go. Equally, was the head tap from Alex Waller a penalty at the last scrum? I mean, I don't think it was necessarily a bragging. I think it was just a, look, I'm enjoying this contest, but it is now against the laws to head tap.
Well, it has been an opening 20 minutes in this second half. It's been challenging for Northampton.
Yeah, I know.
Stephen Myler, who's now scored more points than anybody else individually as an opponent at Allianz Park, just steadies Northampton's nerves a little.
Use it!
It's been charged down. Great work initially from Nick Tompkins.
Use it!
And he was equally so.
7, no! Let it go!
Myler, who got down on the ball to make sure that it's still Saints' possession. Day slowing it down. Cleared away by Dixon, but only as far as good. Ashton's crying for it, and he's been found. He's got Wilson to beat. Wilson was up on him quickly. Hodgson. Spencer to Vunipola. Chris Ashton's first touch of the ball there. Hamilton with a penalty up their sleeve. Spencer. The ball is taking too long to come out. Here goes Vunipola again. He did well to ship that ball away.
6, roll away.
We'll come back for the penalty against Clark.
Amazing, it's Ashton's first touch an hour into the game.
Phil. Phil. You had the warning in the first half.
Nice kick from Alex Good, loads of vision. Obviously Charlie Hodgson looks like he was calling that. Ashton actually almost gets man and ball. Gets hit hard by James Wilson, but he really rides that tackle. So he hasn't touched the ball for an hour, he must be freezing cold. Took that well. And I tell you what, he hit Wilson hard then. He very nearly slipped that tackle.
Just too much hang time on the kick. You saw George Ford's kick yesterday, a lot flatter. Would have put him in more space with more time.
Chris Ashton, by the way, is yet to score against his former club. Now would be as handy a time as ever. For the time being, however, it's the big blokes who think they might get to do the job all on their own.
No, 6!
Chris Wiles is in there, doing a bit of moonlighting as a forward. Fraser takes it on. A little bit of support from Barrington. Ball for Spencer. It's been picked up by Vunipola. It went beyond the scrum half's feet. It was actually Johnston in the end who was needed to sort things out.
Let him go. Let him go. Just stop. Time off.
Dixon really making a nuisance of himself off the ball there when Sarries want to go quickly.
OK, we're just having a quick look.
Thank you. Just don't scream at me like that again. Yeah, I think it was you. If it wasn't, I apologise. I'm just identifying the player that came around the side of that ruck and kicked the ball out. I think it was 6.
Well, the reason the ball spat out was because it was Waller, I think, who got his
Graham, I think I got it. It's number 1.
feet to it.
Looks like 1.
1.
Yeah.
Number 1. On the line, please,
This is
guys.
the one that will tell us. There we go.
Yeah.
Graham Hughes,
Okay,
our
7
TMO today.
Saracens after the kick will be a replacement.
And Waller has been yellow carded.
Yeah, no. Okay, thank hacking. Northampton on the line.
The issue there is getting your foot over the top and fly hacking is one thing, but coming around the side and booting it out is entirely different. You're fly hacking from an offside position. Just about resisting temptation, a bit of self-control. A situation like that landed his team in a bit of trouble now.
Now then, door just beginning to open a little bit here for Saracens. Played much better in this second half, and now they've got a man advantage. Joubert, one of the second half replacements, engineering this rolling maul, but for the time being, Northampton have slowed it down. Confirmation of the change. Jacques Berger on for Will Fraser meantime. Once again, Vunipola going through the middle. He's been much busier since the break. Spencer. Spencer again coming on this near right-hand side. Hodgson looking for an opportunity to get the ball away. He's wrapped up by Dowson. Spencer back to Barrington. It's as fluent phase-wise as Saracens have been all match. Are they to profit from it? Alex, good spat back around that ruck. That's the try line. Hamilton had given it a go. And then Joubert. And closer and very nearly over. Hamilton amongst the raiding party. One more decent shove. Jamie George might fancy this. He's got his hands on it, but Myler's got his eye on him, and Myler did just enough to get underneath the hooker as he drove for the ball. He was offside in the process, however. Penalty coming over the top.
10 offside.
Now, it's not a try. The raised arm is for the penalty, but it's been taken quickly. Driving for the line, and Wild scores. They were guaranteed 3 points. They gambled and got 5.
I don't want to say it's a game of two halves, Nick, but it looks like a game of two halves. It's a completely different Saracens side to come out for this second half. Good ambition, good speed. That tap penalty. Charlie Hodgson sees his options cut off on the outside, makes a bit of ground, well covered by Mafu in the end. Jamie George thinks he's in, sees the line, doesn't get there. Very, very difficult for Northampton to stay on side at that point. You're desperate not to give an inch away near your line, and this is strong work from Wiles. Tackled early by Ben Foden, but very determined, very strong on his feet. It's a good pass, that from Tompkins. Nice flat pass with a wet ball.
I think you've got to give Matthew Carley a bit of credit as well. After a period of pressure like that, a referee would like to often slow it down, but he let them go, let Spencer take the tap. The Saracens got their just reward. You thought Saints were going to hold them out, but well played.
I was just thinking we might have had different champions if that conversion of his back at Twickenham hadn't hit the pipes, and his latest effort has just hit the pipes. Here was the try.
Looked like might have fluffed their lines here. Very, very strong. Wondered if he might offload. Strong enough to get over. Sarri's very much back in it.
Yes, please.
Polar underneath it. Spencer. Oh, he's done well. He had a tricky start to this match. He was being bossed somewhat by Lee Dixon, but he's grown into it, and that was confident to ultimately create the space for Good to clear long. Bouncing ball, frustrating Foden.
It was inside.
Underplay the work of Nick Tompkins in that try, David. You mentioned him. First Premiership start of the season for him. Farrell and Barrett elsewhere. Duncan Taylor with Scotland. He's only 19 and he's another. Marcelo Bosch as well. They're missing a whole posse of midfielders today, but the likes of young Nick Tompkins, they've got some impressive youngsters to bring in, and he's played his part in this Sarries fight there.
I heard that Kevin Sorrell, the coach, had to step in a couple of weeks ago and run in training, and it wasn't that quick when he played. I think he's lost a couple of yards since then, apparently.
Use it.
Kevin Sorrell, who was playing for Saracens when you were, which was an awfully long time ago.
Straight out. Straight out.
It's gone straight out. It's not unravelling yet for Northampton, but there were little bits of loose threads that weren't apparent in the first 40 minutes.
Well, that's the second kick that Dixon's put straight out on the full. And his box kick has been excellent in the first half. But as you said, Flat, it's a game of two halves. There's only 2% difference so far in the territory in terms of where they've been in either half. It's so important to get those kicks right from your experienced nine.
Is that the wind, Oz? And if the wind is that strong, should you not be boxing it?
We just got to box it a little bit flatter and let the wind hold it up so you get a bit more length but the same hang time.
Time on.
First Northampton replacement, Selesimar Afu, has given way for Gareth Denman. How much longer have we got on this Alex Wally yellow card? Another 4 minutes. There's Denman, who's taken his place in this line-out. Sarah still operating a man up, won by Hamilton. George Cruz with England yesterday. Hamilton up and down to Scotland this week. Wasn't needed for the win against Tonga yesterday. Spencer, once again, he's just growing in confidence, it seems.
Yeah, nice. He spotted that the Saints are getting a little bit over-eager around the fringes, taking advantage of it.
Here goes Ben Ransom, another promising youngster. Spencer whips it away to good. Vunipola offering some heavyweight ballast way out wide. Here goes George. Brett Sharman, former Northampton hooker, on the Saracens bench today. Taken on by Joubert.
It's a tackle!
Tom Stevenson was busying himself in the middle of all that, but it's still Saracens' possession. Hodgson with Ashton chasing it, but it's much too close to Ben Foden. Myler stepping back into the dead ball area, or at least towards it.
Stay, 18. Thank you.
He's not found touch. Good. Goes beyond Dowson. And there are options here. Wiles is screaming for the ball, as is Tompkins. And this is George. Spencer, Barrington. Just getting up ahead of steam. Just beginning to fancy this. Hodgson, Hamilton waiting for it. Doesn't get it. Good. Lining up on the far side. And they get it down, and Wiles may well have got his second. Oh, it's a long old road back, but they're beginning to go through the gears.
If this try is given...
Try yes or no, please.
Try yes or no. It's all down to the footwork of a front rower.
Poor old James Wilson had such a good first half. He just got stepped by a keg of beer, didn't he?
Oh, Jamie George, take a barber. I think he's got it down, hasn't he? If he hasn't, it's great cover. Yeah, it's a try.
Looks a try to me, that.
Good finish, but it all came from the footwork on this near side.
We need to see his outside foot, don't we? That's a try.
Easily a try.
It was a beautiful... cut back to the blind side.
You can award the try, mate.
Strike time indeed, and I think Jamie George could take a lot of credit for that. Lovely bit of footwork, stitching up James Wilson on the blind side. There was a bit of Rocket and Goonie about that, wasn't there?
He's not been at his best off the kicking tee today. They might have been closer than they are. However, it's now within 7 points. It's getting a little bit itchy for Northampton. Change at scrum half. Ben Spencer's had a good game. He's kept his character and worked his way back into this match. He's been replaced by Neil de Kock. And the situation that much brighter after Wild's second score.
Yeah, looks like basics, but that's good passing in this weather. It's direct. It's not perfect, but it's good zippy passes, taking out multiple defenders with each pass. Really nicely taken.
2, thank you.
Foden with Elliott chasing this. It ought to be too close to good. Calls for the mark.
14, thank you.
Coming down to Martin Bayfield fairly shortly. Who's soon to be chatting with. Vunipola. Talked at the start of the second half about the arrival of James Johnston, but equally so Vunipola has become more of a significant part of the game as well. Hodgson. Chase for Jacques Berger and co. Once again, a little bit too close to Foden, but he's being pressurised in his own half, and Saints having to work very hard with Elliott now to extricate themselves.
Use it! Use it!
Alex Waller not far away from rejoining us. Anxiety on his face. It's been a costly yellow card. Saracens have scored 2 tries in his absence. Burrell. Oh! Was that a ping-pong ball or a rugby ball he was gathering? He didn't make the tackle when he might have done on de Kock, however, and here goes Vunipola, and Ashton's hoping for it. He's got to beat Dixon. No, he doesn't, because the ball instead finds Joubert. Saracens' exuberance brought to an end by the penalty.
Top-notch cover tackle there by Stephen Myler, coming across to get down on Joubert.
Outstanding tackle. De Kock does well, switching it back to the blind side again. Vunipola makes good ground. Ashton selfless gets it inside. This is a really good tackle from Myler. Jim Hamilton did well to pick that up. Callum Clark loved turning this over, didn't he?
Martin.
Well, with a very animated Will Fraser watching this. Agony for you on the touchline, but what has changed in this second half?
I think first half we just didn't get our set piece going, so Northampton had us in the scrum, and they got a couple of charges at the back of it, so we just said at half-time that we know what we're about. Let's get a performance, we owe it to the fans, it is our patch, so we just want to get a performance in, and now we're, what, 7 points behind, so we've got a good opportunity.
Difficult to temper that urgency with precision.
Just stay there, please, Sarries.
We seem to have lost Martin's microphone there. Apologies, I think we got a good impression of how Will Fraser was feeling about things.
Saracens at the front.
In the meantime, Ben Nutley has come on for James Craig, and as you'll have seen, Ethan Waller back with us.
Line it over. Maul.
Dowson has it.
Once.
One of those players who needs to dig deep to get Northampton through this now. A little over 6 minutes to go.
9.
Dixon thought about kicking, decided instead to use Burrell. Burrell, one of those players who'll join up again with the England squad at Pennyhill Park, going in Bagshot this evening. What role might he have to play, if any, against the Wallabies next Saturday?
Let's hope it's one that says 12 or 13 on his back.
Backwards play on.
Dixon, Myler, here goes Burrell, who would be in England's team if Austin was the selector. Battle for the ball at the breakdown, and it went beyond Clark, but it was swept up by Manoa. These are precious seconds being filed away by Northampton. Penalty goes against Johnston, and this is a kick that would take Northampton clear again.
Kick it, go.
Had a great impact, Johnston, in the set piece, but you've got to listen to the referee. A big part of communication, a big part of discipline is listening. Listening to the referee, clearly told to let go of that. Didn't listen, couldn't resist. I think the ruck was formed. It's a pretty tough decision. He's down there, but the ruck's formed. He's just got to get out of the way.
If you've enjoyed this and you've not yet had your fill of rugby on this long rugby weekend, then we've got one more game to come from the Kassam Stadium. 3 o'clock kickoff, and we'll be there for all of Welsh against Leicester. BT Sport 2. No visiting teams ever scored more than 30 points at Allianz Park. Only 2 teams have ever won here twice in the past. Northampton on course to do it for a second time with 4 minutes to go.
They've had a rough half an hour, haven't they, Saints? The game really turned around. but they're doing just enough. They're showing real quality. Myler's steering that ship. Looks like they're not going to be clawed back. They're going to get the win. They're going to dog it out.
Vunipola. Often we have to apologise for the language of the referee, but apologies for the language of the referee there. Didn't know referees swore.
Is it wrong that I like him a little bit more now?
Flicked away by De Kock and driven on by Vunipola. He's had a big second half and ball's been lost forward. Well, it might come too late. The ball was lost forward in the end by Ashton, but bit by bit, stride by stride, Vunipola has been increasingly influenced on this match.
Textbook Tongan sidestep, get the ball, whack. Alex Waller won't get one run through like that very often in his career. Considering we're 77 minutes in and the size of Vunipola, the amount of carries he's put in. It's a cracking carry that, he just needs some guys to get with him. Ashton can't quite hold the ball.
Yeah, Ashton looking to make the pass in the catch as well. He knew he was going to get hit from the outside. Had another support runner inside him. It was the standard thing of taking your eyes off the ball just at the wrong time. He's certainly come into this half on Apollo, hasn't he?
While we watch Vunipola do his stuff, Northampton have made late changes in the front row. Alex Waller's been replaced by his brother Ethan. Ross McMillan's coming on for Mike Haywood, and that's a concern. A limping Luther Burrell 6 days before the Wallabies come a-calling.
Well, he did just mouth, I think, not professional lip reading, Nick, but I think he just said to his mate Chris Ashton, I'm all right, I'm all right.
Balance and find
so perhaps it's precautionary. 3 minutes left, 10 points ahead. Why risk it?
Crouch! Behind! Set!
Burrell has been replaced by Dom Waldock.
Have to get green, tight head
in
to
midfield.
bind off the arm. And 17 black and then bind long, please. 17 long. Just do the nod on the arm.
Great to see Dom Waldock back, isn't it? So many horrible injuries. Top player, no mean replacement for Burrell.
Crouch! Crouch!
It's only Waldock's second Premiership game in 9 months. He's on stricken Burrell. And what's just 2 minutes left.
Out the scrum.
Ball's there to be taken by somebody. It was snaffled by De Kock. It's gone loose and picked up by Tompkins and driven forward by Berger. De Kock to Barrington. Barrels his way into the 22. De Kock again. Here goes Vunipola. Sense them just playing for the losing bonus point, but who knows if they could score now. De Kock, Barrington again, and Christian Day amongst a heavyweight bouncing committee. Joubert. Tompkins, that was very neatly done, and good as well, getting the ball swiftly to Jamie George. They couldn't have transferred that ball any quicker, but it still wasn't quick enough to get beyond Saints' wide defence.
Bit too confident out on the wing now as he's beaten another one-on-one. A good game out wide, Jamie George, but got to stay in field. It's an unforced error, really, turning the ball over like that.
Doesn't look good, this, for Myler. Came across and dived at the left leg of George. Just got his head on the wrong side, I think. It didn't look very good.
This was it.
Tell you what, you can't doubt the commitment, can you? But he's running into a big unit there, and you've got to hope that's just a stinger on the neck and shoulder.
It's the left shoulder. Quickly to Martin, who's got news on Luther Burrell.
Well, Luther Burrell can give us the news himself. What's happened? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It was just a minor strain when I came down off that kick-off. It's nothing too serious. I think coach has just been a bit precautionary, and we'll assess it back in the change rooms after the game.
I know we're not done and dusted yet, but it's looking good for the Saints. Yourself, big game for you today.
Yeah, a huge game. I think obviously coming off the back of last week, we were very disappointed as a squad. We needed to come down to Saracens, which you know is a very tough place to come and play, and we started the game really well. We've had a bit of a dry patch in this second half, but you know, I think the boys are really stuck at it this afternoon.
Well, relax here, enjoy the sun, look after that.
Thank you, guys. Cheers, mate.
Dowson rolling away. Penalty to Saracens.
Go Northampton!
They won't hang around with this. Got a couple of bonus points that they could pick up here, pulling within 7 points of Saints, and another for the 4th try. So
kick a goal.
Still lots to play for, but they're not
kick a goal. On the line, please, guys. On
worrying
the line.
about the 4th try. They just want to try and guarantee the losing bonus point, which if this kick goes over, they'll get. Actually, while we wait for this, you're 9, 10, 12, 13 next Saturday, Austin.
My 9, 10, 12, 13. I would go with Wigglesworth, Ford, Barrett, and our friend who's just gone off without a mental.
Burrell.
Burrell, yes.
Do you want my 9, 10?
Yeah, go on.
I would go Wigglesworth, Ford, and I would go Eastman and Joseph.
Without a hint of Bath bias.
No, I don't work for Bath anymore. And hey, I work on the telly now. They don't like me anymore.
It's an important kick. And it's a kick that will rescue at least a point for Saracens from an afternoon that was looking very grisly early on. But that's why Northampton are champions. That's why they're champions. No one comes here and scores 3 tries in the first 20 minutes. No one's ever won here twice. Saints have now. They've done a job, and they've got home by 31 points to 24 in the wet.